almighty philosophy, we're going to talk about theology according to the King James Bible. One of the most talked about topics in the Bible is salvation. Everyone wants to know how to get saved. The Bible tells us we could be saved. All we have to do is read carefully without bias. The first thing we have to understand is the laws of Moses. Many people believe the laws of Moses no longer apply because of Jesus. However, Jesus tells us in Matthew 5:17, "Do not think I have come to abolish the laws of the prophets. I have not come to abolish them, but to fulfill them." The laws that Jesus was talking about is the laws of the covenant. Anyone that broke the laws of the covenant unintentionally would have to make a blood sacrifice. It says in Leviticus 5:15, "When anyone is unfaithful to the Lord by sinning unintentionally in regard to any of the Lord's holy things, they are to bring to the Lord as a penalty a ram from the flock, one without defect and of the proper value in silver according to the sanctuary shekel. It is a guilt offering." Amen. The rabbi would rather have a blood sacrifice because that was a lot of food for him and his family. The problem with a blood offering is that not everyone had an animal that they could sacrifice. Those that did not have an animal to sacrifice would bring grains, herbs, or flour. The rabbi would burn the offering and keep the rest. That is what kept the doors of the temple open because everyone needs to be paid. It would be a waste to always burn the whole offering. You know, the rabbi or the priest does need to eat. It says in Leviticus 5, "If his means are insufficient for 2 turtle doves or 2 young pigeons, then for his offering for that which he has sinned, he shall bring the 10th of fine flour for a sin offering. He shall bring it to the priest, and the priest shall take a handful of it and burn it on the altar with the offerings of the Lord by fire. So the priest shall make atonement for him concerning his sin which he has committed from one of these, and it will be forgiven him. Then the rest shall become the priest's, like the grain offering." Bringing a sacrifice to the temple was not always acceptable. The offerings are only made for the forgiveness of unintentionally done sins. The Bible explains nearly everything is forgiven with blood, but not all things because some sin has to be paid off with restitution. Moses gave us the example of how to go about doing a sacrifice. Hebrew 9 says, "When Moses had proclaimed every command of the law to the people, he took the blood of calves together with water, scarlet wool, and branches, and sprinkled the scroll and the people. He said, 'This is the blood of the covenant which God has commanded you to keep.' In the same way he sprinkled with the blood both the tabernacle and everything used in its ceremonies. In fact, the law requires that nearly everything be cleansed with blood, but without the shedding of blood there is no forgiveness. Any sin that was done intentionally was supposed to be forgiven through punishment and restitution. Only unintentional sins could be forgiven with blood according to both New and Old Testaments in the Bible. In Hebrew 9 it says, "But only the high priest entered the inner room, and only once a year and never without blood, which he offered for himself and for the sins of the people had committed in ignorance." In Numbers 5 it says, "Say to the Israelites, when a man or woman wrongs another in any way, and so is unfaithful, a person is guilty and must confess the sin he has committed. He must make full restitution for his wrong, add 1/5 to it, and give it to the person he has wronged." So as you can see, not only would they have to pay restitution, but they would also need to give a little extra to make sure they didn't do it again. That is a lot different than simply asking for forgiveness or making blood sacrifices. Paying restitution means that you have to be responsible for your own actions. The most merciful is about second chances, but remember your intentions are well known. One cannot go around causing problems with the intentions of making a sacrifice or asking to be saved or forgiven. That would not be acceptable. First one needs to make everything they have done public, because then the community will correct their behavior. Then one will realize what they did was not acceptable. It says in Proverbs 28, He that covereth his sins shall not prosper, but whosoever confesses and forsaketh them shall have mercy. It says in Psalms 86, For thou art ready to forgive and plenteous in mercy unto all of them that call upon thee. Give ear unto my prayer and attend to the voice of my supplications. In the day of my trouble I will call upon thee, and thou wilt answer me. So one can be forgiven if they confess and forsake their sins. But they should not try to hide it from others. We are saved because God prepared for us good deeds in advance. So we are not saved by the good deeds, but we are saved by the grace of God. We only do the good deeds because it was prepared for us in advance to do. It says in 2 Ephesians, It is by grace you have been saved, through faith, and this is not of yourselves, it is a gift of God, so that no one can boast. For we are God's handiwork, created in Jesus Christ to do good works, which God prepared in advance for us to do. Now go and do good works that God has prepared for you in advance. Then you will be saved regardless of what you believe. Actions speak much louder than words. That was Almighty Philosophy. I'm your host, Preordained.